Hi, I'd like to start the Blog Talk Radio show with a song. New you. It's for those that want real guidance and a real education. It's a real connection with Rebazar and the real guides with the All Life Now, with All Life Now. So you can test it for yourself for like 15 minutes before you go to sleep at night, 15 minutes when you wake up in the morning, and see what life shows you. Today, I'd like to discuss about forever or endlessness. And I'd like to mention the word humility. So I had a real sight experience. That's a dream vision last night about this endlessness, this foreverness. And it was, I guess, what seems to me to be comparisons of this physical life and that life of forever, or endlessness of being forever. I guess that the awareness I had of being in this foreverness, this endlessness, was more of a looking at the comparisons than actually a lack of awareness what this endlessness itself is. So I'll read a little bit of what I wrote down about this, what you might call a lonely journey to the is, or the loneliness of the is, or how it seemed to me, how my awareness is about the experience. So there didn't seem to be any bright light, and there didn't seem to be any black darkness, but there was kind of an in-between, and maybe a little recognition of some kind of vaporous motion. There was something about $40,000 that I have no idea why that was in my awareness. There wasn't any sound. There didn't seem to be any awareness about a future or any awareness about a past. It was just awareness about being. There wasn't any desire to create anything, and I wasn't observing anything like castles, and there were no other beings, or there were no other places, no realms, no gods, nothing except just being. And there wasn't anything that I was aware of how to add anything or take anything away from the experience. There wasn't any pain. There wasn't any sorrow. There wasn't any joy or happiness. There wasn't any awareness of anything else. There wasn't a sun or a moon or stars. And there was no thoughts or ideas about being thankful. It was just like, what does the is see? What does this awareness that exists for eternity see that I wasn't aware of at all? Just being right in the present moment of just being, and there didn't seem to be much to be, I guess, what you'd call grateful for or humble about, or having any ideas or thoughts of being purer, or it was just being. There wasn't any right or wrong, good or bad. Wasn't any beginning to it, or there wasn't any end. There wasn't any time, and there wasn't any space. There's just how there weren't any suggestions from anything else, no guides, no gods, just being aware of being. There wasn't anything like a thought of love or kindness or happiness or shame. There wasn't anything that seemed beautiful or ugly. There didn't seem to be any caring for anything because there didn't seem to be anything to care about. But anyway, it was an experience, and a person tries to relate what it means to themselves. We all have our own awareness and experiences. So I just thought I'd mention that one. And I know it seems kind of strange to try to look at how this forever endlessness sees in each of our awarenesses. Makes you wonder, the is. How it just seems to be, that's all it is. It doesn't seem like there'd be any guides for it. But anyway, we get some experiences that we have to think about what life's all about. And this new presentation that's being offered to give us an education about what life's all about, why we came here, and information about different realms that most of us seem to have been or are unaware of. Like here we are in a physical realm that we think is about all that exists in our awareness. Of course, we have emotions, and that's a whole different realm. It's called the astral, where the emotions, the feelings of what we call love and pain and happiness and joy, and these things exist. And then we have a causal plane, another realm where there's our memories of all our experiences. Then there's a mental plane or realm where our brain computer seems to be involved in where we think about things, life, and all that. And then there's the etheric plane realm where the intuition is, or what's called the subconscious. Then we have an area that's called the deep dark border to find out about. And that's like a shell around these, what's called these realms, which are called psych realms, where we have to have some real guidance and real guides, actually, it sounds like, to get through this shell that we have to break through into what's called real universes, where there's real freedom and real love. That where everybody is a free being of real light, and that we have to be in this lowest realm, this physical, for lessons. It's like a school to experience all these things that I was mentioning, like in the dream vision earlier, of the wants and the desires and the material things that we're so used to here, to have a comparison to these real universes where there are no wars and no sickness and all the things that we call things we don't like to experience here in this physical realm. I'd like to ask if anybody else would like to mention anything about these, how they see this is, how the is sees.
Hi, Tim. This is Dean Val.
Yeah, hi, Dean Val.
Beach. Yeah, that was a great experience. You know what it reminded me of is like what you give an apt description of what it is not. It is not these things, and that's most people do want to know. Well, where am I going? What is this about? How can I find happiness or money or something? And I was listening to this fellow yesterday. We actually might have him on our show. But he's like a seer, and he gives guidance on a galactic level. I mean, this is like not just a psychic level, but a galactic psychic level. And he was asked questions about, well, where am I from? You know, what am I from, the Pleiades or Andromeda? I mean, he knew all this stuff. He could see where these people have been spending millions of lifetimes, where they're from, how they ended up on Earth. He was telling them all about their incarnations and reincarnations in galactic history. And it's interesting because these people are pretty popular because they tell you what is what you're about, where you're going, where you've been. And it's interesting that your experience, well, you were just basically, it was more like what it is not. And that's more in line of what we're presenting. We're just sort of like helping people compare to what this isness is to what it is not. And it's not like we can tell people what it is because it can't be done, because there's nothing to relate to it. So your experience was great because it showed what it is not, and that's more in line of what it is. It's not this, it's not that, it's not happiness, it's not love, it's not enlightenment. And to most people that might turn them off because they want something. They're in the wanting area. So what are we going to do? How are we going to relate to people? Well, yeah, it does take a little bit of a sincerity to want to see more of life, basically more of what's really going on, instead of having people tell them what's going on, like a religion or a personage or a doctrine, a teaching, something like that. Most people are very comfortable with that. Or during, in their own research, this and that. But when it comes down to them having to figure it out for themselves, then they kind of get lazy or they don't want to go there because that takes a little effort. But the rewards are great because you really do see what, if you're sincere and you're singing the new you do really see what is going on. And you see how big life is and see how, in a way, puny you are, your personal self, that is. That your real awareness really is activated by this new you, and it can start its adventure into seeing more of life and what it is. So that was a cool experience. Thank you for sharing, Tim.
Yeah, sure. Well, and thanks for expressing those ideas. It takes a shift of consciousness or awareness, I guess, to like you were mentioning that guy, to be in these other realms like the astral or something. I was wondering if he was talking about anything about the real guides or the is, that if he even has any awareness at all about beyond this psych realm stuff.
No, he was just basically, he had a vast knowledge of that, more vast than anybody practically I've ever heard, but still he's in the creation realms, and it shows you how huge the creation realms are, that you can just go on and on and on and research and gain knowledge, but you're still in creation until you do recognize that there's more. And well, when we have him on our show, we can see if he sees anything more from what his knowledge and intuition is showing him. But yeah, he's just basically in the psych world.
Yeah, that is interesting, though, to be able to recognize anything that we don't know already, and test it for ourselves to find out if it's a deception or if it's reality, what's real. Because who knows until a person knows, with all these things about beings and astral realms, and that's part of this new presentation, becoming more aware of all the things that are happening that we, the vast majority of humans, still have no idea of or are not aware of at all what's really going on. We've got the reptilians that have been causing all kinds of stuff to take place on Earth and many other round worlds, and we're feeling the effects from their causes, how things they do, how they affect us, and even like the fallacy of being created by a god, and things that these reptilians have convinced the humans that there is a God, and they've created these religions, and all that it seems like these religions have caused on this earth for all of us in many lifetimes is terrible suffering through, if we don't agree, if it doesn't make sense to us what they're telling us, they have us put to death or imprisoned, or they cause all these wars for their benefit, to live off of our emotions or feelings. It's all so many things that it seems like mankind isn't aware of, and the new presentation is exposing a lot of things that most of us had no idea were real, that existed in our lives. We've got all this stuff going on to deal with in these psych realms. I guess that's part of our learning the opposite of how it is in these real universes.